The world is in a great degree of economic uncertainty, and that's why at this point it will never abandon the dollar. Let's go over more currency history. By the 1920s, the British pound was the world's reserve currency. It had the most dominance, but the US dollar was fighting it hard. And most of the big money knew eventually that the dollar would overtake the pound. The British Empire had more land and resources, but it was spread out far all over the world, so they had to spend so much money on their army and navy to maintain the colonies and maintain all the transport and shipping of everything they were taking from the rest of the world. The United States, on the other hand, was completely self-sufficient, and they were a main exporter. All of the US's exports and resources were inside the country. And even though they weren't the world's reserve currency, more banks were holding on to US dollars than they were British pounds. Now we're at a very important year, maybe one of the most important years in the 20th century. The British are bankrupt at this point. The US economy was actually booming during World War II. Yet the British pound filled 77.5% of the world's reserves. Why? Because even though the US dollar was a much more promising currency at the time, the world was more familiar with the British pound, and that's what they flocked to during the Great Depression and during the outbreak of World War II. Later on this year, all the major world powers agreed to switch from the pound to the dollar as being the world's reserve currency. And now the world is in a high degree of economic uncertainty. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And all these countries saying how bad the dollar is, they are going to flock to it when the manure hits the fan. And my other question to you is, who here in this list is a contender? It's not the euro, they tried and they failed. It's not the yen, they're our best friends. Same thing with England. It's not going to be a BRICS currency. Russia, one of their larger members, has inflation over 11%. They haven't even made a currency yet. None of those countries are self-sufficient. None of these countries are as united as the United States. Just look at India and China having border disputes every year. And do you really think that the Saudi royal family, some of the most shrewd investors on the planet, are going to take a risk on a currency that's never been tested, or something that's always yielded them ample rewards? Thanks for watching.